2015, the Conservative Party manifesto, there was a promise in that from David Cameron to build 200,000 starter homes. How many of those have been built?
Well, the legislation, part of the legislation has been put in place. There's still some more work to do on that.
None.
But we will be building starter homes, but also, what are starter homes? Starter homes are one type of affordable housing. What we've also said is alongside that, we need to have a variation of products, so build-to-rent product, for example, your shared equity type products. So we want to make sure there's different types of products available. But actually, what is ultimately going to solve the housing crisis, affordable homes, whether they're starter homes or other types, have an important role to play. But what's really going to make the difference is we need a big increase in all types of home, including regular, unsubsidised homes. And that is at the heart of this.
In simple terms, we can agree we have to have many, many more homes built, and quite quickly. Now, there has been a suggestion in today's papers, for instance, of some big new housing fund to build these houses. Would you support that kind of big measure?
We are looking at new investments, and there'll be announcements. I'm sure the budget will be covering housing. But what I want to do is make sure that we're using everything we have available to deal with this housing crisis. And where that means, for example, that we can sensibly borrow more to invest in the infrastructure that leads to more housing, take advantage of some of the record low interest rates that we have, I think we should absolutely be considering that.
Well, that's really interesting, because that is a change in tone. Not long ago, we were told we couldn't borrow any more for anything, but you are saying that housing is such a big infrastructure crisis in this country, we should be borrowing more money to solve it.
Well, I'd make a distinction between the deficit, which needs to keep coming down, and that's vitally important for our economic credibility, and we've seen excellent progress and very good news on that just this week. But investing for the future, taking advantage of record low interest rates, can be the right thing if done sensibly, and that can help not just with the housing itself, but one of the big issues is infrastructure investment that is needed alongside the housing.
But by sensibly, do you think things like housing bonds, other ways of raising money long term, would be a good idea?
I'm not going to get into today what might be the method to that, but I do think that we have to continue to be bold in this area. We set out some measures during the conference. There's a lot more to do, but this is one of the biggest issues facing the country. It's the biggest barrier to social progress in our country today. Absolutely
agreed. But to be absolutely clear, more borrowing is coming to build more houses. Have you got the Chancellor on board for this?
Well, let's wait and see what happens in the budget. But what we have been...
Because if he says no, it won't happen.
But let's look at some of the recent announcements. At the conference, the Prime Minister announced an additional £2 billion going into social housing, on top of the £7 billion we'd already committed. I've already set out a green paper that we're going to publish soon on the social housing
well beyond
sector.
that, I assume.
Because
these are relatively small sums.
But we are showing that in this area, alongside the housing white paper, some of the other measures we've announced, including today about the house buying process, that we are looking at the whole housing sector, the whole process, and making sure that it works better for everyone.